Well, that night that we had the crazy anchor drag and the sail flapping, it ripped open the threads on the part that was open. So there's 3 sections of the sail cloth where the thread broke. So what we did is we took the whipping line and we split it in 3 because it's a twine. So we split it to get a line small enough to fit. And I've got an upholstery needle, and I'm just trying to follow the holes and get from the original stitching and get this sailcloth back to holding so we can at least make it home. I can bring it to somebody who really knows how to sail, and like you can see here, the thread here ripped here too. Here, so it could be just age. Okay. Here. So there's just some parts where it came apart, and I'd like to use this sail on the way back. This is our number 3, which is sort of like an all-purpose sail. And I'm just trying to get through here. And my eyes aren't that good. Mix doesn't make it easy. And we're just taking a break today because we had to get the car fixed. The bearing was going on the car. We didn't intend on staying at dock this long, but the engine running out of batteries. We didn't even tell you that story yet. You guys got haircuts. Can you show off your haircuts? And then we're just sitting here deciding what to do for the next few days. And then I said, well, we're sitting here, I'm going to repair this sail. So that's what I'm doing. I'm hand stitching. It's split about this long, 3 places, and I can see a 4th here. And then there's a double stitching, so it's going to take me a while. That's what I'm doing. August 25th? August 25th today. So what are you doing, David? Tell the story about our crazy night with thunderstorm and anchor dragging and battery depletion.
Okay, so 2 nights ago, Dad and I came here and we anchored close to the channel in the bay. And we set our anchor all good. We did some normal stuff like swimming and sleeping because we were exhausted.
And we did an overnight sail, so we sailed for 30 hours straight.
I think 36.
36 hours.
So yeah, and then during the night we were sleeping, and then I remember waking up, and Dad I asked Dad what was going on, and Dad said that he thinks the anchor was dragging. And so he looked outside, and it turns out the anchor was dragging. And then also the sail that Dad's fixing actually, had unraveled because it's the Genoa, so it
Unfurled.
it unfurled because it's like coiled on the furler. And so it unfurled like a little bit, and that was causing the wind to just catch it and pull the boat and drag the anchor, and it was flapping in the wind. And so we had like 2 problems to deal with, and it was thunderstorming. It was like a crazy storm with 100-kilometer-per-hour winds.
Yeah, the wind animator read 58 knots. Of wind.
So kilometers, that's like over 100.
It was 107 kilometers per hour, I think.
Like, that's crazy. And so, and Dad was trying to fix the sail to bring it in so we weren't, like, the wind wasn't catching it and pulling us faster. And I was looking at the chart plotter, and we were going really close to shore where there's like 1 foot deep waters, and Dad's foot needs 5.5 feet of clearance, or Dad's boat.
Keel.
Yeah, it's keel.
The keel.
Underwater.
Yep.
So that's what we needed, and we were approaching 1 foot deep waters, and so I yelled at Dad to hurry up, and then Dad ran over and turned on the motor and motored us a little farther, and then you went to continue fixing the sail. And the whole time we were still dragging the anchor because Dad tried to lift it and he couldn't. And so his dad told me to use the motor and just try and keep us driving away from the channel, or towards the channel.
Driving back towards where we were anchored,
Yeah.
Just to head us into the wind to take the pressure off.
So Dad was working on the sail and he got it in a little bit, but it got stuck again because the whole thing had twisted around. And then he tried to pull up the anchor again and he couldn't, so he ended up, he just said, okay, we'll go back to our previous anchor spot. And we did, and the whole time we just dragged the anchor across the ground. And
yeah, we basically put it almost like full throttle, and we just dragged that anchor because where we were, I couldn't pull it up, and we were really close to being hitting the shore.
yeah, so we went to our previous anchor spot, and I once again held the boat into the wind using the motor again. And then Dad gave me this rope to pull. It was the rope to bring in the Genoa sail on the furler. And he would be like untying it and twisting it, and I would have to pull. And eventually we got it in pretty much all the way. I think it was still out a little bit. And then Dad, we were drifting again, so we motored back, and then Dad finally managed to lift up the anchor a little bit, and then he lowered it again to set it on the ground again. And that's when the rain and crazy winds started dying down. And so we got the sail in again, and everything seemed good. And then we just sat up for like an hour watching the chart plotter and stuff to make sure we weren't dragging.
Yeah, of course, this happens at 2 in the morning. Right?
Yeah, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And so then we went to bed. We woke up in the morning. It was all good. And we went outside. We were gonna come here to this marina that we're at right now, just to dock, because they have showers and stuff. And then Dad was like, "Oh, are we dragging again?" And we looked at because we had like 28 knot winds that day, or that morning. I think that was yesterday morning.
Yeah, yesterday.
So that wasn't very much, but like, it was a lot. It wasn't as much as the night, but it was still a lot. And
the reason why is here in the Bay of Presqu'île, it's basically grass-covered mud, and the grass is so thick and weeds that when the anchor goes in, it just doesn't bite enough of the ground because of all the weeds. So it doesn't set very well. Hi, Julian.
Yeah, and then also our depth sounder doesn't work because how it works is it sends a signal down to the ocean floor, and then it calculates how long it took to get the signal back, and it converts that into feet and stuff. Except with all the seaweed is so thick that the signal bounces off the seaweed, so it's like 3.
It was misreading.
Yeah,
we actually did
like,
have more clearance.
It was at one point it said it was only 3 feet deep, but Dad's boat could fit, and it wasn't touching. It was just because of that seaweed growing so high. So yeah, and then we just decided to come over to this marina because our anchor was dragging, so Dad pulled it up. Actually no, wait, did you pull it up? Oh yeah, Dad pulled it up and pulled up the anchor. And then we started motoring over, and all was well against the wind. And then the battery just shut off. Or no, not the battery. The motor just shut off. And Dad was like, "Oh no."
We made it about another half a nautical mile up, and about halfway between where we anchored and the dock, and the low battery voltage alarm came on, and the motor is set that at 44 volts it shuts off, and we hit 43 volts. So basically, the safety kill switch effectively shut our motor off.
Yeah.
So we anchored again in the middle of the channel.
And then Dad called the marina, and Dad's like, "Hey, can you send someone else to tow us because we kind of ran out of
engine.
yeah, well, we have an electric engine and we ran out of batteries. And so the lady, Jenny, she sent over another sailboat actually to come, and the guy who was driving it, his name's he is a sailing instructor, and he said it was just a good opportunity to teach his student. And
So he offered to help out?
yeah, and so he came over and he threw the rope, super long rope, at Dad, and Dad attached it to his cleat.
Yeah, be careful of the undercurrents here. Troublemaker.
被拔草。